taking you through tonight's webinar. So, welcome if you have not joined us before. We have 6 webinars that we run on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. They're all mostly about the same thing but broken up into different parts. So tonight we'll be talking about accessible tourism and events. So let's get started. Grab a cup of tea or coffee, something to eat, a pen and paper or an iPad to write notes onto. And yeah, in saying that, let's get started. So, acknowledgement of country. 30-foot drop acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters, recognises their connection to land, waters and the community. We pay our respects to the Indigenous people, their cultures, beliefs, and to both elders past and present. Okay. 30-foot drop funding. 30-foot drop would like to acknowledge the Department of Communities Disability Services for funding this and many other initiatives. Without their support, so many projects such as Two Wise Monkeys would never see the light of day, and we'd be so much more poorer for it as a community. This workshop is part of a Realities and Advantage Access and Inclusion grant awarded to 30-foot drop as part of an information, linkages and capacity building grants for 2018 and 2019. Let's do a little housekeeping. So unfortunately we do not have all the resources to monitor all of the live chat platforms. So if you have any questions for me, please head to the video which is this link under the video, which is www.30footdrop.com.au/live. Hit the live button and then jump into the chat box if you have any questions for me. And you can still watch the webinars on the other live platforms. We just don't have the chat box in there. We'll be covering a lot of information in a short period of time, so we ask that attendees could please minimise any distractions. I know that might be hard at this time of night, but if you can, try and minimise them. Also, please make sure that you tag 30-foot drop in everything that you do when you talk about us. We'd love to be involved and we really want to get our message out there. We'll be referencing a lot of research during today, and all of the resources are available on our website. So if you want to go over anything again, you can have a look on our website under resources. Also, if you know anyone that might benefit from these webinars, please share these webinars with them. The more people we can get the messages to, the better, and the better world it's going to become for disability and impairment. We'll be referencing a lot of research during our session, and all of the resources are all available in the 30-foot drop digital library. At the end of the webinar, we have a short survey for attendees to complete, so just click on the webinar that we've done tonight, webinar 6, and fill that out for us. That would be really, really appreciated, because the more feedback we can get from you guys, the better. And if you have any ideas or anything you want to put forward about trying to get changed, let us know. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Lisa and I am Hear No Evil. So I'm one of the Wise Monkeys and I work alongside Ben, who is See No Evil. He is the director and the founder of this amazing webinar and the page 30-foot drop, but I will let him tell you his story. He will be in next week, so you can listen to him then. But for now, I'll let you know my story. So I'm Hear No Evil. Just by looking at me, you probably can't tell what I may suffer from. Probably not. But you'll realise through me that you hear no evil about impairment. My story is definitely a more hidden one. At age 8, I was diagnosed with mild dyslexia. Teachers used to hit me on the head, read out my low marks, and yell at me in front of my classmates. Why don't you understand what's wrong with you? making me feel completely dumb and unworthy. But despite these challenges growing up, I was determined to prove them wrong. I passed school. I realised that I was quite kind of good at art. I got 90% in art, 80% in photography or something like that. And I remember this one teacher, I'd drawn this picture of lilies, and I'd done it at home, and then I took it into school, and he didn't believe me that I'd drawn it. So he made me sit there and draw it again, or a piece of it again, to prove that I'd drawn it. It was just so funny. And then from then on, I just had all this faith in the teachers and in myself that, maybe I am okay. So if you know anyone that may be struggling with a learning disability or finding it hard to find that passion or that thing that they're good at, just keep going, because I was 13 when I found that I was okay about art. So just once you've found that, just follow that passion. So that passion took me all around the world. I worked in galleries, I've done picture framing, I organised exhibitions, marketing, all sorts of things. I have one in counselling, and at present I have my own photography business, which is Lisa Hall Creative, if you want to have a look. Okay, so isn't there supposed to be 3 wise monkeys? Who do you think the third monkey is? Take a guess. Well, yes, it's you. The aim of today's workshop is to turn you into a wise monkey. You'll begin on a journey of realising that, impairment or not, we are all human and deserve to be treated with the same acknowledgement and respect as everyone else. Something my teachers didn't do. Outline and method. So this is an outline and method of what tonight's webinar is about. So how are we going to get you started on the path of a wise monkey? Well, there's a lot to learn about people with impairment and their potential impact on your business. Tonight's session was all about how businesses can meet the specific needs of this market in order to tap into the business and create change and inclusive ideas. We'll finish off to focus on our tourism events by having a look at what the future holds. The southwest of Australia has the potential. The southwest of Western Australia has the potential to grow this market, and we will look more into this and how it can be accomplished. To finish this session, there will be an open forum where you can chat and ask any questions, but if you have any along the way, please feel free to send them in. So how are we going to cover all this? The answer is fun, experience, and open, honest discussion. Nothing's off limits, and even if it's a question not related to this webinar tonight, that's totally fine. Send anything to me. You'll notice that there's very little written content on these slides, and that's so that we're all here to interact with each other rather than you trying to watch the screen and keep up with what's been said on the pictures. So it's just making it easy for everyone. People with impairments, people with learning disabilities can follow the pictures, or it's nice, simple lettering. It's just makes it inclusive for everyone. Right, so terminology and review. A lot of people get these words mixed up, so we just want to clarify with you what they actually mean. To reduce confusion and ensure understanding, I want to review some terminologies that I'll be using in the sessions. First up is the difference between disability and impairment. An impairment is an injury, illness, or congenital condition that causes or is likely to cause a loss or difference of physiological and psychological function. In short, an impairment is your medical diagnosis. So, my medical diagnosis is that I have mild dyslexia. A disability, on the other hand, is the loss or limitation of opportunities to take part in society on an equal level with others due to social and environmental barriers. It is, as the word implies, something that makes you unable to access or participate in something. For example, if you have a mobility issue and you own and you're going to a cafe and the cafe only has stairs to get into it, well then those stairs disable someone with a disability. They are unable to use your service. So that's what we're all about, talking about what makes people unable to use your service. So an example for me would be that too much wording or stylized script can make it hard for people with dyslexia and other learning disabilities, which then makes it hard for them to get the right information that we need to use your service. So this is especially important to remember because some impairments, like mine, are hidden. So if you didn't know much about it and you were just going with what you think's right, you could have all this complex information on your website, not realizing that people with hidden impairments, which I'm sure would be quite a high percentage of people, aren't understanding your website. So redoing your website could be something you can look at doing in isolation. Go over it. I'm going to be doing mine, not for those reasons, but I want to change a few things. And oh my goodness, it takes so long to do things on your website. But anyway, we've got a lot of time by the sounds of it. So make your website more inclusive and look at these things. Does it make sense for people with a disability or impairment? Anyway, I hope that all makes sense to you guys. The next one is the difference between access and inclusion. Access refers to the removal or reduction of barriers, physical and attitudinal, to participate in activities and functions of a community. At its core, access focuses a lot on the physical world around us and is easily assessed with a checklist. Inclusion. Inclusion is more of a psychological state of being and is the process hereby every person, irrespective of their age, disability, gender, religion, sexual preference or nationality who wishes to, can participate fully in all aspects of an activity or service in the same way as everyone else. Helping them to feel included in all activities in the community. Such a big call, big thing to change. So once again, I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, send me a message. Okay, let's now look at specific needs of the market. In session 5, we discussed the similarities between travellers with impairments and the rest of the population, showing that there is much of an overlap. Despite the similarities to the general population, there are some important differences and specific needs that we need to talk about. Travellers with an impairment have a strong tendency to manage stress and uncertainties of travel by returning to destinations that they know well. Consequently, they appear to have a higher rate of repeat visitation to businesses that support their needs, meaning they are loyal customers. So that just makes so much sense. And ask yourself, is your business inclusive? Would someone be returning to your business more and more and more, or every year because you've made it accessible or you've made it inclusive? The Accessible Tourism in Victoria and Queensland report found that there are 3 main subjects which are areas specific to the needs which can be used to attract this market. These are information, planning, and service. So now we're just going to go over these three needs, which are information, planning, and service. First up is information. Travellers with an impairment need more support in planning their experiences if they are going to travel as much as they wish to. Also, for it to be an enjoyable experience rather than a stressful one. Let's face it, who wants a stressful holiday? No one. So, let's make it less stressful. Overall, more detail in the information that is currently provided was the highest priority for this market. particularly those with limited mobility. While this mostly related to digital resources such as websites and site reviews, it could also refer to information where travellers are looking in destinations and overseas tours. Also, more than just having long documents with complex information where the information is not being understood by everyone, you need information that is relevant. Most places already have different measures in place. Let them know by putting it on your website and on your profiles such as TripAdvisor or Expedia. As well, make the information easy to find and absorb. This especially relates to the accessible tourism information which is often not prominently displayed and is often very complex. As we discussed in the previous session, this is a decisive market and people with an impairment are more likely to stop a transaction or discourage others from using your business because their needs were not met. Definitely something to think about. Information needs to be well structured rather than a 50-page document with all the information on it, which will be very overwhelming for someone with a disability or impairment. It's hard enough as it is to plan a holiday, but if you've got this big list of jumbled words, that's what it is to them, they're not going to understand it and they're not going to come and use your business. Look at breaking it down into smaller parts and logical parts. For example, part 1 could be on how to let the business or service know what you need. And then another where how people can access your accessible ramps, toilets, or ACROD bays, which are parking bays. Information needs to be relatable. When choosing accommodation, attractions, or experiences, including a range of images that cover impairments, would also help potential travellers feel like they are choosing an option or place they feel comfortable going to. They are feeling included because you've used a picture of someone with a disability or impairment in your advertising or somewhere on your website to show that yes, you can come. As discussed earlier, when you can relate to the marketing, you subconsciously feel welcomed. Of course you do. Okay, information continued with specific findings. Let's have a look at these specific findings from a report that relates to information. When asked what the number one priority to drive accessible tourism is, the most mentioned was information provision. If you make it easy and are highly accessible, then you will increase the chances of attracting more customers to your business. 41% wanted information contained on websites like TripAdvisor that was relevant to travellers with specific needs. There are many resources as to what these are, and you could look at these via our website. A subject brought up many times was the idea of bringing in an accredited system that shows businesses that have made the right commitment and implemented accessible travel systems into their business. This would be an amazing step forward for this unserved market. When asked what the priority for the improvements is to this market, 86% rated that the addition of more practical information is very important. This included location of ACROD bays, toilets and access ramps. 83% rated increased prominence of this information on tourism and transport websites. So if you don't have what's accessible and information about being inclusive on your tourism and transport websites, then people with impairment and disability are going to think that they cannot use your tourism service or your transport service. So let them know on your websites. Yes, of course, we can take wheelchairs in this tourism service that I have or transport service that I have. They need to be out there and it needs to be known. So, planning. Let's move into the next part of specific needs, which is planning. People with impairment, especially those with mobility issues, have specific needs that, if not met, makes visiting a business or event impossible. With all the effort and cost it takes to plan a trip or visit somewhere, lots of research is done beforehand. Sorry, I got a bit lost then. Lots of research is done beforehand to ensure that the resources are not wasted. 40% of respondents stated that not knowing what to expect was a barrier to their travel, highlighting the benefits of more detailed information being available for planning their trip. As you can see, there is a need for expert advice at the planning stage if you want to attract this market. Creating relationships and prompting your accessibility on platforms such as disability forums, peak bodies in the area, specialist travel agents, or even the NDIS coordinators are all important. Internally, you could appoint an accessibility coordinator, someone who is knowledgeable in all aspects of the accessibility in your organisation, service, or business. This person would be responsible for answering all the access queries and used to create good, strong relationships. This coordinator would also address the next point in our research. Specifically, the research highlighted a strong preference to connect with the business or destination personally, either by phone or email. So, we all know that it must be so stressful for people with severe impairments or disabilities to just be looking on a website. They need to know a little bit more, and they need to feel comfortable that yes, they can turn up to your service and you will have what they need. So have someone that they can speak to on the phone to get the definite answers that they need, because they might not come if they can't talk to you, or definitely know for sure. I know I'd be stressed out just by not being able to talk to someone if I had a severe disability or impairment. So with making that phone call or even an email, this would provide a potential customer with the information in a rapid and accurate manner, increasing the likelihood of converting it to a sale. That personal connection is so important, especially for someone with an impairment or a disability. Traditional travel agents with strong service ethics could also be important in driving this conversion, particularly for older travellers and those who have lower support needs. Many clients had low expectations, so this advice would expand their interest and create demand for new products. Travellers with impairment find it hard to be inspired when they don't know what is possible, and having an advocate for the possibilities for them is a huge win. Okay, planning. Now we're up to service. There are still many challenges in regards to attitudes and understanding from the tourism, hospitality, event staff and those of the public towards travellers with an impairment. This is especially a challenge for younger travellers with an impairment and those who have hidden impairments, who require support in less obvious ways. Top service by All-Star is a key driver for recommendations across all categories in this study. And as we all know, good service brings more customers. Cost is very important for many travellers with an impairment, as they need to travel with a carer sometimes, or extra equipment, and this all makes the cost even higher for them to get anywhere to have a holiday. Assistance with these costs, including potentially via the disability insurance scheme or via a special deal or service with those with a carer, would assist removing the barriers to travel and also have a ripple effect regards to ethical consumerism, as discussed in an earlier session. So if you're making your business inclusive and you're offering say the carer half price, then word's gonna get round town. Hey, did you know that you can go to this hotel and they will offer your carer half price? That's going to create a ripple effect for the community, and the business doing it will be so much more respected by everyone that they've done something like that, because otherwise these people can't travel. Okay, let's go to growing the market in the region. So we have looked at the opportunities and needs of this segment and what potential to tap into. How are we going to grow this market? What needs to be done and who needs to be involved? The opportunity to grow this market is a multifaceted project in which all key stakeholders have a role to play. Who are these stakeholders? Let's have a look. First up, we have people with impairment, their families and their carers. These are people who will be served by this project, and having an understanding of their needs is critical at every stage. They should be central to every decision made. Peak bodies that represent both tourism and the disability sector need to make choices alongside people with disability to ensure they know what needs to be met. Who else? The government on a state level and local level. They should be helping with infrastructure. Destination management and organisations such as visitor centres. Tourism and events providers. These are all the people that need to get involved to bring this project together and build a better future for every human being. Okay, growing the market stages. This part is intended as an executive overview of the stages. This is by no means a how-to, and we realise that there is much more involved. But with saying that, let's go over what they are. Sorry, my iPad just had a bit of a spaz. The 5 stages that are required to grow this market are consult, inspire, educate, collate, promote, and lastly build. Let's have a look at these closer and how stakeholders can get involved. Okay, stage 1 is consult. This should be the foundation of accessible tourism. It should ensure that what is offered is built on a rich understanding of what travellers with an impairment want and need. This is a responsibility for all stakeholders, but government and destination management officers can take lead, as they have the resources and skills to undertake projects and research to guide others. Help if I press the buttons. Okay, stage 2. Inspire and educate. Ensure that the industry has an understanding of the potential of the sector and has provided support on how to get it started. Government, destinations and peak bodies should all have a role in driving this. Further, many travellers with an impairment have low expectations of what is available, while their aspirations for travel is high. The task here is to encourage them to explore and test the boundaries. Peak bodies and service providers can play a strong role here, and so can individual operators like you. Here is a picture of my boss Ben and his wife and his son. He has just done an abseil down the tallest building in Perth in his wheelchair. This is something he thought he never could do, but because peak bodies and businesses came together to make it work, he was able to do it. So it just proves if we all get together and work together, anything can be done. Right, next up, growing the market in the region. Collate. This is about bringing experiences together to provide a holistic offering in some key destinations. Will help the traveller plan and navigate their trip. Government and peak bodies in both the tourism and disability sectors and service providers can all potentially play a role to help identify new areas of experience and product development or support infrastructure. Governments can work with the sector in a number of ways, including improving accessibility standards in the industry and developing infrastructure that considers the complete user's experience. Stage 4. Many travellers are not aware of what's on offer. Therefore, it is important to promote what is available to generate demand. The information needs to be easy to find, well structured, and provide the opportunity to develop further planning and to build confidence in the experience and trip. This is the responsibility of individual businesses and destinations. Okay, growing the market. This is the last stage for tonight. While not the highest priority for now, new infrastructure needs to be the subject of ongoing focus. Ensuring that new infrastructure employs universal design principles which will make this opportunity more cost effective in the future. This is a cross-industry responsibility. So it's important for new businesses and companies to follow these standards, and it is also the responsibility of people with an impairment to generate this demand. So if you're going to build a new cafe and you start from scratch, you get everything you need, you use a ramp instead of stairs, or you can use stairs and a ramp. Think of all the things that you're going to need for your cafe to make it accessible and inclusive for people with impairment and disability. If you get it right from the start, then you're not going to need to change anything, and then everyone is welcome and included, which is what we're about. Okay, that is it for tonight. I hope that everything made sense and that you got lots of information from it. Okay, in these current times, businesses are not even operating right now, but there's lots of things that we can all take from these learnings and these webinars. There's so many things that need to change in the world, and we definitely believe that this is one of them. And if we can get our message out, especially to as much people as we can as possible, we can make changes, and together we can make changes. So I encourage you to share this webinar, share our other webinars, tell your friends to book into the next ones, have a look online what they're about, and log in and come and do them with us, because they're all beneficial, they're all different. It's not the same stuff over and over, they're all different. So yeah, please, let's share this and make everyone aware. So right now, if you have to go, that is fine. You can just jump onto the link below the video, if you could please, and fill out the survey, webinar 6. But if you have any questions for me, stick around, and I'm here for 5 minutes if you want to ask me any questions or you want to give me some feedback, anything you like. So I will be back in 5 minutes to see if there's any questions. But if you have to go, take care. We're all in the same boat. The next few months is just gonna be horrendous if it's not already, but if we can prove that we can get through this, my goodness, if we can get through this, we're going to be able to get through anything. So think positive, cuddle your family members more, spend more time with your kids, do those gardens that you were meant to do years ago. Follow your dreams, make those dreams around your home happen, and hold on to hope that we will be all working again. Okay, I'll see you soon. If you've got any questions, please send them to me. Take care. No questions tonight, but that is fine. I'm sure many of you have got to do some little chores, go eat dinner, read some stories to your children. But most of all, take care of each other and stay home, because there's proof that staying home stops the virus spreading. So please stay home, look after yourself. If you need help with getting food or medication, contact someone that can go and get it for you, or ask your neighbours to help you out. Everyone is in this together, and we're more than happy to help each other out in times of need. Take care, guys, and I will see you sometime next week. Thank you for joining me tonight. See you later.